G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's Tuesday afternoon. It's the week leading into Christmas. Got home early today and thought I'd just go for a bit of a walk and talk. Come down here to the bush and take one of the trails and cover off on another book summary. I love these book summaries. I've done over 1,000 now, and I'll just keep on going for as long as I can, whilst there are books, whilst there are summaries, whilst there are experiences that we can share. We'll do it as best we can. So the book summary that I've selected today to talk through and talk about is entitled Self-Discipline Blueprint by Patrik Edblad. So an interesting book, basically delving into and talking about self-discipline and how we can master it, how we can shape it, how we can leverage it to enable us to achieve a lot more in our lives, in our busy lives. And it's a book which is focused on self-actualization and leading to fulfillment. A number of years ago I came across Maslow's theory of development, growth and development, and I was surprised and I guess enlightened to a certain extent to see that one of the highest levels that a person can go in terms of fulfillment in their lives is self-actualization, to get to fully express themselves as best they can and to give back, to share with others and to help them actualize themselves. So in this book here, he talks about a few important aspects of self-actualization, and he says that, and this is an important point, so we just need to try and focus on this for a little while. He says that success almost always requires you to ignore something easy in favor of doing something hard. So what the author is saying is that we should be trying to traverse the road less traveled, because when it's all said and done, if you're taking shortcuts, if you're cutting corners, if you're taking the easy road, chances are it's not going to lead you somewhere promising or somewhere that is going to be worthwhile. Because it's those hard yards, it's that hard road, it's that hard work, it's those challenges, those problems that we need to overcome in order to savour the higher achievements in one's journey, in one's life. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to success, according to this author, everybody wants to do it, but nobody, or very, very few people, want to put in the hard work. So we need to forget the myth about the overnight success and to understand very, very clearly that what is required is a disciplined routine, absolute determination, and healthy habits, a number of healthy habits, a number of empowering healthy habits to get us to where we want to get to. So the author goes on to talk a little bit more about attitude and how it's important, because a person's response to failure is a great indicator of their future success. And it's interesting to see that he says a person's response to failure as opposed to the words a person's reaction to failure. Because there's a big difference between a reaction and a response. A reaction is more an instinctive sort of animalistic behavior or ability to do something. But I remember years ago going to a seminar by Steve Covey, and he said that in between stimulus and action, for great people, there's a thing called response, where you're able to consider the options, consider the first, second and third level consequences of your actions, and do whatever you need to do in order to try and achieve the outcome you're trying to achieve. So a person's response is very, very important. And from an executive, from a development point of view, what we should be doing is we should be taking note of how people behave, how people react and respond to activities, so that in our daily lives, a lot of people give away clues in terms of what they value, what their challenges are, what their likes and dislikes are. And many years ago, I was listening to an Anthony Robbins interview, a tape. I forget who he was interviewing, but he was interviewing a successful businessman. And the businessman said to Anthony Robbins that he loves to take his clients on golf days. And he says that just through a game of golf, you can get a sense of a person's negotiating style, a person's character, a person's habitual behaviours. And he said, for example, you're playing golf with a group of 3 or 4 people, and if they tell you, to putt out, you're a metre from the hole. If they insist that you putt out, then you can tell that they're a stickler to the rules. Whereas other people will say, it's a gimme, just take it as a hold putt. But I guess the key point from that interview was that people reveal a lot of their character in social scenes. So that's why it's important to go drinking with people, to go eating, to break bread with people, to go to the cinema, go to the theatre, play golf, because all of these things, all of these activities reveal something about their character, which you can later use. You can use it to your favour, to your benefit, by just observing and noting the things that they value most and the things that things that make them tick. So he says at the end of the day, and we all know this, but it's always good to remind ourselves and to tell ourselves things like this, because it does embolden us and it does empower us. And he says that at the end of the day, it's all a numbers game, and we need to understand that we're going to fail. We're going to fail lots of times, but it's our response to that failure. It's our measured response, because the author here reminds us that it's important to learn how to fail productively. We need to learn from our mistakes, learn from our failures, because today's failure is the ground, the building blocks, the stepping stones to tomorrow's opportunity, where you can use what you've learnt to do it right next time round. So we need to learn, we need to generate more successful attempts, What you shouldn't be doing is freezing up and just stopping and not doing anything more once you fail. But you just need to continue to go through your attempts one after the other. Just keep trying, because at the end of the day, and this is a powerful lesson as well, we've heard this time and time again, at the end of the day, if you're action oriented and you have a productive failing mindset, you don't know. You just don't know which door will open up, and you don't know which path will lead you where. But generally, more opportunity will continue as you go along the path and as you keep on trying, because you will activate opportunity by doing and by continuing to attempt and not give up. So the author then goes on to talk a little bit more about being disciplined. And he said that being disciplined, when it comes to the 4 fundamentals, will help us be more successful in all of our endeavours. And we'll just run through the 4 fundamentals that he talks about. One is sleep, the second one is nutrition, the third one is movement, and the fourth one is mindfulness. And he said that those 4 things, those 4 basic things, are pretty critical to how we function. And the people who take it seriously, the people who manage those 4 basic elements in their lives, are helping themselves become more productive and more sustainable for future opportunity. So let's go through these one at a time. So he talks about sleep. And at the end of the day, sleep is critical. And sleep debt, believe it or not, is cumulative. You need your sleep, you need your rest, and you just can't continue to burn the candle at both ends and function, or try to function, on empty. So sleep deprivation for those young parents who have got young children and who also have demanding careers is a challenge. But you need to understand that you must try and get rest when you can, because sleep deprivation will rear its ugly head and cause you issues along your path. Nutrition is pretty easy. You need to eat right, you need to drink right in order to function optimally. You need to stick, according to this author, to nutritional dense foods, and they're foods which have got high nutrients to the calorie ratio. Things like leafy greens, lean protein, complex carbs, fruit and veg. And the author advises that eat by all means, but try and stop eating 3 hours before bedtime. We need to stay active. The author here talks about movement. Stay active, and to basically flush your body of the toxins, and to do whatever you need to do to stay healthy, physically, mentally and emotionally healthy, by going on bushwalks, by exercising, by doing aerobic exercise. All of these things are key. And the fourth one, of course, the last one, is to focus on mindfulness. That's basically focusing on the present and removing a lot of the things, the worries, the issues, the anxieties that we have troubling us throughout our days. So some key points there. So the author then goes on to say, and this is an interesting point, because I hadn't quite considered this before, and he said that we need to understand that we have 2 minds. We have the thinking mind and the observing mind. And the thinking mind has chatter, And the way we work on the thinking mind is that we need to meditate and focus on our breathing to remove the chatter. So the next fundamental point to come from this book here, and I need to keep on pushing to get through it, is that we need to work hard on our individual fundamentals and find out your why. Each and every one of us are different. We've had a different past, a different present, and undoubtedly we'll have a different future. But each and every one of us have a different why. We've got a different calling or callings in life. We're good at different things. We've got different God-given gifts that we've been born with, that we've honed through the years. And the author here says it's important to focus on your why. You know, what's your purpose? What are you here to do? You know, what skills do you have that you can leverage that can help others and serve others and to serve God? So we all have specific traits and special characteristics. So we need to develop the competencies on what you like to do and what you're good at, and try and work out how you can get paid for that, because at the end of the day we need to pay our bills and we need to raise our families. So it's not just about having a good time and, you know, doing what you're good at. You also need other people to acknowledge it and to want to pay you for that, so that it becomes income producing. And so what we do is we take those and we see where they all overlap, and for many people that's the focus that they should make in their lives in order to you know, work their calling and to achieve their mission, their purpose, their unique purpose in life. So, and usually when you identify that element, it's usually your flow gift. And a flow gift is where you do things, you enjoy it, and you don't realize where the time goes. For example, on Sunday, I went down to the city. I dropped off my daughter at a function, my youngest daughter, and I went and did a couple of vlogs. I was only planning to do one vlog, but I ended up doing 4 because I like doing it. And the time just went quickly, you know, 2 hours just evaporated without even thinking about it. And I did it effortlessly. I did it without stressing, without worrying. I did it because I enjoyed doing it. And it's one of the things that I hope to be able to deliver purpose and value on. Because we need to understand that unless you focus, unless you try and identify, unless you try and define what you want to do in life, what your competencies are, what your calling is, then you may fall into a group of people, and there are many people like this, who don't know what they're doing and you know, why they're doing it. They're just drifters. They're just going through life trying to find purpose. But it doesn't work like that. You can't just drift and try and find purpose. You need to proactively develop it and think about it and create it in your mind and then chase it, as opposed to falling upon it. So as the author says, you know, we need to basically identify a thing called the golden circle. We need to understand and to find out what we want to do, how we want to do it, and why we want to do it. And once you get to that point, that's when you'll be in a position to have a deeper sense of purpose. And the last point to come out of this book from this author is where he says that it's key to have and to develop a growth mindset and to stay consistent with your actions. you basically need to show up. You need to show up day after day. It's not something that you can dabble in. The big challenge that a lot of people face is that they're dabblers. They'll come and do this today, and then they'll do that tomorrow, and they'll do something the other day, and then somebody else will tell them to do something else. And dabbling will never get you to the peak of any mountain. Otherwise you'll be just going around in circles, just doing the things that you enjoy doing, but without a purpose and without a drive, without a goal, without a target. So you need to work on your deliverables, show up every day, maintain your deliverables, and build the quality over a sustained period of time where you keep learning and keep growing and you keep improving, and you basically employ the can-I principle, where you're continuously and never-endingly improving. So for continuous and never-ending improvement, you need to be doing that on a daily basis, adding to every day, so that you continue to grow and develop. The author here says also that we need to steer clear so that we don't get caught up in a fixed mindset. Because we need to understand is that we can change and shape our future through our thoughts. And we learn to quieten fear. So everybody will have fear, according to the author. Everybody will experience fear. But it's up to us to mute the fear volume that's going through our minds. And you can do that by just turning down the fear volume. Now you can basically use that as a metaphor. Just turn down the volume, or turn up the volume of your positivity, or you're living with positive expectancy. So the author also talks about the 10% rule. He says that at the end of the day, less than 10% of the fears that you have will ever come to fruition, will ever materialize. So by understanding that principle, you quickly are able to identify and realize that most of the fears that people have are irrational fears. Most of the things that you're worried about, most of the things that are holding you back will not materialize, will not happen. And yet, those fears, those multiple things that are going on through your head, holding you back, warning you, warning, you're in danger. You know, the vast majority, more than 90% of those are irrational fears. They will not materialize, they will not happen. So you're better off taking them on and dealing with them one at a time. And if something does materialize, then you work on it. Everything is solvable. Everything is figure-outable. You know, you can solve any problem that comes your way. Sooner or later, you'll find a solution. But you can't find a solution for the opportunities that you waste and you miss, and the ones that evaporate because of non-action through fear and worry, by getting bogged down and distracted by irrational fear and disempowering thought patterns. The author encourages us to embrace challenge. Failure is just a part of a successful process. All successful people, all high achievers, all entrepreneurs understand that failure is part of the process. I just saw a lizard there and I thought it was a snake. So That's probably why you heard a change in my tone of voice. And that failure is just part of the process. And to understand that the brain has a plasticity. It's plastic. You can alter your brain, you can alter your brain structure, you can alter the way the brain is wired by the thoughts that you have, and you can use it to your benefit. Anyway, it was a long-winded book summary today. I'm up to 25 minutes, so sorry for going a little bit over time. I try and keep them to under 15 minutes, but it's such a beautiful afternoon today that I got carried away, chatting away. But this book is an absolute cracker, and it's got a lot of very, very powerful, useful material for each and every one of us, regardless of your age. So thank you once again for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'll come to you again from a different location with a different message of empowerment, where we can share experiences, where we can share OPE, other people's experiences, so that we can use it, incorporate it, we can leverage it, and make it part of our own inventory of skills, of patterns that we can use to help navigate us through life's paths, through life's meandering paths, and allow us to live a full life, to have a fulfilled life by doing the things that we like, by doing the things that we're good at, by doing the things that add significant value to our fellow man, to our family, by doing the things that are pleasing to God, and by getting paid for it as well in some way, shape or form, be it financial, or be it by just feeling fulfilled and loved and making others or helping others become better versions of themselves. So I think I'll leave it there. So thank you, and we'll chat again. For those who are wondering where I am, I'm in Moxham Park. It's a bushwalk here in Winston Hills, between Winston Hills and Northmead. And it's a lovely, lovely track which goes on for a few kilometres. There's quite a few bush tracks around here, and slowly but surely I'm getting to learn them all, and getting to click through a number of book summaries so that we can exercise our minds, exercise our bodies, exercise our spirits, and learn something new along the way. Anyway, take care, and we'll chat again. Bye for now.